I could sit here for hours. Everybody wants to go home.
Not to add fuel to the Rachel Zegler Oscar fiasco, but why did they have these women, all Disney princesses, all stated as Disney princesses?
What do you honestly expect? I mean, they had to stop actually promoting this film because the promotions itself were so bad.
Not long ago, Rachel Zegler was everywhere. Red carpets, award stages, trending hashtags. The girl who went from YouTube covers to Spielberg's West Side Story was being hailed as Hollywood's next golden star. Disney handed her the keys to the kingdom. Snow White herself. Casting agents lined up. Stylists fought to dress her. PR teams wanted her face front and center. But now, silence. Her name, missing from press tours. Her face, nowhere to be seen on carpets. Her invites, mysteriously disappearing.
You're just trying to get everyday tasks done, and there's people who actually don't really care about who you are, but care that you're someone. It gets really disrespectful and you're like,
Rachel Zegler is a PR nightmare. Every time she opens her mouth, it's crisis mode when it comes to Disney, having to backtrack. She talks about how this isn't a fairy tale about falling in love with the prince. This is a fairy tale about fighting your own battles. She's so woke, they've gone broke. That basically, I don't even know if they can afford the big premiere this time, but you've seen Disney really scaling back on some of...
And the craziest part? No one's saying a word. There wasn't a scandalous headline, no massive announcement, no TMZ expose. Instead, it's been a quiet, cold freeze-out. 1 minute, she was Hollywood's darling. The next, it's like she never existed. So what happened? Why did the star Disney, once treated like royalty, suddenly become a liability? Why are brands cutting ties, co-stars going silent, and insiders whispering words like "removed"? Because behind the glitz and the gowns was a pattern, one that fans, studios, and eventually even her own team couldn't ignore.
It is the real beginning of my life as a young lady of America. Of America.
And it all started with the one role that was supposed to make her a legend, Snow White. The Snow White remake was supposed to be Rachel's moment, a legacy character, a billion-dollar franchise, an instant classic, and for Disney, a chance to pass the torch to a new generation of stars. But before a single frame hit theaters, the entire project was already a public relations nightmare, and Zegler was at the center of it. During the press tour, things got weird. In interview after interview, Rachel didn't just modernize the character, she roasted her. She laughed off the original 1937 classic, calling the prince a stalker and joking the idea of a fairy tale romance. She dismissed the film that defined Disney's legacy, calling it weird and outdated.
A lot of hard work has gone into this film, but so much love, truly, speaking for myself and also for the filmmakers behind it, just so much love for the storytelling and for bringing something that it means so much to so many people and bringing it to the modern age is really so special.
I had no idea what I was auditioning for when I auditioned. So it's a kind of a hilarious question to say, like, what drew you to the material? Is that, like, I didn't realize that I was reading lines with Dopey. It said, like, Jeff and Amy were reading lines. And then our director, Mark Webb, on Zoom was like, and then Dopey's gonna look at you and whistle. And I took a pause and realized what I was auditioning for. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part.
And the internet didn't take it lightly. Clips from her interviews started blowing up on Twitter. TikTok creators launched entire series dissecting every smug smirk, every sarcastic quip. Memes flooded Instagram. And suddenly, the face of Disney's biggest remake was being dragged by the very fan base she was supposed to enchant. Worse, she didn't back down. Instead of apologizing or clarifying, Rachel doubled down, posting cryptic quotes, sarcastic captions, and what many saw as a smug dismissal of the backlash. One tweet about the winged victory at the Louvre was interpreted as a self-congratulatory clapback. It had nothing to do with the movie and everything to do with ego, and Hollywood was watching. For studios investing hundreds of millions into a global family brand, this wasn't boldness, it was arrogance. Zegler's comments weren't just turning off fans, they were scaring executives. People didn't see a charming rising star anymore. They saw a ticking PR time bomb. Even her stance on payment stirred controversy. She publicly stated she should be paid for every hour her movie is streamed online. Valid point? Maybe. But the delivery came off entitled, especially when tied to a company like Disney, known for its tightly controlled branding and image-first marketing. The backlash was fast, and it was loud.
Not to add fuel to the Rachel Zegler Oscar fiasco, but why did they have these women, all Disney princesses, all stated as Disney princesses, come out to present, but like not include Rachel Zegler, who's going to be Snow White? They're clearly acknowledging micromanaging Disney princesses for movies that have not been released yet. Someone must have had this conversation and then they purposely left her out, even though she was the only one with a hit movie this year of the 4. Did anyone else notice this, or am I overthinking?
But even that wasn't the tipping point, because while Snow White cracked the surface, it was Evita that shattered it. After the Snow White drama, Rachel Zegler had a golden opportunity to reset the narrative. She landed the lead in a West End revival of Evita, an iconic role with serious prestige. This was her shot to show that she was more than just a controversial Disney princess. A live stage performance in London, serious actors, high-stakes theater, Evita could have been her redemption arc. Instead, it turned into a career disaster. From the very first rehearsal, Shimai insiders say the warning signs were there. Zegler allegedly clashed with the director on day 1. She pushed back on notes, challenged blocking, made what crew members described as constant creative demands. One source even claimed she tried rewriting dialogue. In the room, on the fly, that's not normal, especially not for a tightly scheduled stage production. Veteran cast and crew started referring to the show as the circus, and the tension kept rising. She was reportedly late to rehearsals, skipped sessions entirely, and walked out when things didn't go her way. One actor, who had been with the show since early development, just walked off. A choreographer unfollowed her on social media and never returned. And then the footage leaked. Security camera footage from inside the rehearsal space reportedly showed Zegler in a heated moment near the stage. An off-camera voice, allegedly an assistant director, says, "Get her out now." Seconds later, security steps in. She's not dragged out, but she's clearly not leaving on her own. The image was savage, not because it was explosive, but because it confirmed everything that had only been whispered. Suddenly, studios weren't just hearing rumors, they were watching them unfold in real time. PR firms froze. Casting directors started removing her from lists. Nobody made a public statement. They didn't have to. In Hollywood, silence is a statement, and the silence around Rachel Zegler, it was deafening. Once the leaked Evita footage hit the wrong inboxes, it was game over. No more rumors, no more alleged tension. Suddenly, Hollywood execs had visual confirmation that Rachel Zegler wasn't just difficult, she was disruptive. And in an industry where time is money, disruption doesn't get you cast, it gets you cut. Within days, her name started quietly vanishing. She was reportedly confirmed for a major summer press junket tied to an upcoming blockbuster, until she wasn't. Her name was pulled from the call sheet with zero explanation. No substitute, just gone. Then came the high-profile streaming summit. Zegler was supposed to appear alongside other rising stars in a talent showcase. Stylists had fittings scheduled. Publicists were prepping press. But at the last second, nothing. She wasn't even listed. Not canceled, not excused, just erased like she was never meant to be there. And when PR teams were asked what happened, the response was blunt. She's not welcome right now, period. That's when it hit a deeper level. This wasn't just about bad press anymore. Brands were backing out. Fashion houses canceled fittings. Stylists dropped her from their rosters. Even unpaid appearances, things most actors would do just for the exposure, were quietly pulled. One fashion insider put it plainly, it's not about her talent, it's about the image. And right now, she's controlling. Even the people who once praised her, the ones who filled interviews with compliments and red carpet quotes, suddenly had nothing to say. Directors, producers, fellow castmates, radio silence. The same social accounts that once tagged her in every promo had now stopped mentioning her altogether. You don't need a press release to know what's happening. In Hollywood, they don't remove you out loud. They just stop calling. And for Rachel Zegler, the phone wasn't just ringing less. It had gone completely silent. If you want to know how Hollywood really cancels someone, don't look for headlines. Look for absence. And right now, Rachel Zegler's absence is deafening. The circles that once celebrated her are vanishing. Castmates from West Side Story, the same ones she used to praise in interviews, aren't tagging her, reposting her, or even acknowledging her in public. One insider even revealed that actors on her next project were strongly advised to avoid mentioning Evita or Rachel by name during press tours. That's not damage control, that's a lockout. Her director from a previous breakout film, who once called her the future of cinema, hasn't liked or commented on a single post in weeks. Her longtime stylist quietly pivoted to working with more low-drama talent. Even a high-profile charity gala that Rachel was scheduled to attend went ahead without her. No mention, no apology. Not even a polite, "she's unavailable." And then there's social media. Rachel, who once built her brand on being loud, quirky, and online, has gone mostly dark. No behind-the-scenes shots, no live tweets, no fan engagement, just silence. For a star who was once hyper-present, the sudden absence is jarring. And fans are noticing. Fan accounts are shutting down. Reddit threads that once defended her are now filled with regret posts. Even her biggest supporters are stepping back. Some even dropping passive-aggressive lines like, "Can't keep defending someone who doesn't want to be saved." And in this industry, perception is everything. You don't need to break the law. You don't need a scandal. All it takes is for the room to decide you're no longer worth fighting for. Once people stop rooting for you, once they stop believing in your potential, it's not a scandal, it's an erasure. Hollywood won't tell you you're finished finished. They'll just make sure everyone forgets your name. And for Rachel Zegler, that forgetting has already begun. Here's the thing about Hollywood. It rarely slams the door in your face. It just stops opening it. Rachel Zegler isn't officially removed. You won't find her name on some leaked document or cancellation list. But if you know how this industry works, the signs are unmistakable and savage. Studios are flagging her in meetings, not removing, just flagging, a quiet coded way of saying, let's think twice before we go there. PR firms are whispering her name in risk briefings, right alongside phrases like media volatility and brand safety concerns. One executive reportedly said, she's too volatile right now. Touching her is touching fire. It's not loud, it's not messy, it's surgical. She doesn't get dropped from roles. She just stops being cast. She isn't disinvited. She's never added to the list. There are no fiery statements, just quiet edits behind closed doors. A phone that used to buzz every day, now silent. One publicist described it best. In this town, the worst thing isn't scandal, it's silence. When the phone doesn't ring, you don't exist. And that's the real punishment. Rachel's name used to carry momentum, a buzz. She was the it girl, the next breakout. Now, that same name sets off quiet concern. Producers ask, will she trend for the right reasons? Marketing teams ask, can we afford the backlash? Casting directors whisper, let's hold on that idea. It's destruction by hesitation. And when hesitation becomes a pattern, you stop getting chances. No studio has made a public example of her, but they don't need to. In fact, that's the point. The quieter it happens, the easier it is for everyone to move on without the mess. The studios get to protect their image. The PR firms avoid crisis control. And Rachel? She just disappears. For a while, Rachel Zegler had what every rising star needs. A support system. Publicists, stylists, directors, influencers, people who reposted her wins, showed up in her selfies, fought for her spot in Hollywood's chaotic hierarchy. Now, that support system is crumbling fast. It started subtly. A stylist who once called her a dream client started posting red carpet looks for other stars, newer stars, quieter ones. Then came the producers and directors who, once eager to praise her, just stopped talking about her altogether. No mentions, no birthday posts, no polite retweets, just digital distance. And it spread. A charity gala that had once promoted Rachel as a keynote guest quietly went ahead without her. No announcement, no reschedule, not even a social media tag. She wasn't replaced, she was erased. Even her peers, the people she once called friends, have gone quiet. On TikTok, fan compilations of Rachel and her co-stars used to go viral. Now those same co-stars aren't liking her posts. Some have even unfollowed her entirely. It's not dramatic, it's calculated. In a business where association is currency, standing next to someone with a sinking brand can sink you too. And Rachel, she's felt the shift. Her online presence, once loud, funny, unapologetically herself, has withered into near silence. No quirky captions, no behind-the-scenes stories, just the occasional PR bland photo, likely scheduled weeks in advance. But silence only invites speculation. Her fans are asking, where is she? What happened? Former defenders are backing off, some even turning on her. Passive-aggressive posts, thinly veiled subtweets, the kind of public shaming that doesn't scream. It whispers, and the whispers are everywhere now. Because in Hollywood, the moment your name starts to carry more baggage than buzz, people stop standing beside you. Not out of spite, out of survival. And when even your closest allies step back, that's not just a PR problem. That's the beginning of the end. Here's what makes Rachel Zegler's situation so strange. It didn't have to end this way. Hollywood has a short memory when you give them a reason to forget. Meltdowns, bad press, even viral controversies. All of them can be spun into a comeback with the right apology, the right project, or even the right interview. But Rachel never gave them that chance. No sit-down with Variety, no heartfelt video, no vulnerable post first explaining what happened or what she's learned. Just more silence. And in this town, silence is dangerous because when you don't speak for yourself, other people start speaking for you. Fans, blogs, tabloids, TikTok creators, they fill the void with rumors, jokes, speculation. They write your story before you get a chance to tell it. Rachel had the perfect opportunity to pivot. After Evita, after Snow White, even after the leaked footage, there were moments where a simple gesture could have stopped the spiral. An Instagram live, a self-deprecating moment, a letter to fans, anything to say, I hear you, I get it, let me grow. Instead, she vanished. And that's when the industry decided for her. One PR strategist put it bluntly, you can survive a scandal. You can't survive a vacuum. And right now, Rachel isn't just missing from red carpets. She's missing from her own narrative. In a world obsessed with authenticity, she chose silence. And that silence cost her everything. When Rachel Zegler first broke onto the scene, she was electric. A nobody who became a somebody overnight. Her voice, her charm, her presence, it felt fresh, real. People rooted for her. And maybe that was part of the problem. She wasn't just a rising star. She was a symbol, a Gen Z icon, a representation of the new Hollywood. Young, outspoken, disruptive. She didn't play the game. She questioned it. She didn't follow the rules. She rewrote them until the game started playing her. Because for all the progress Hollywood pretends to make, there's still a playbook, and Rachel didn't follow it. Her confidence was read as arrogance. Her activism was painted as entitlement. Her mistakes weren't forgiven. They were archived, screen recorded, and memed. But here's Here's the twist. It wasn't just about what she did. It was about how people felt. Rachel Zegler stopped being someone audiences could root for. She became a character in a drama she didn't control. And the more she resisted the narrative, the more it consumed her. In Hollywood, image is everything. And once your image turns, once you go from fresh and fierce to difficult and dangerous, the phone stops ringing. Not because people hate you, but because they're afraid of what happens if they stand next to you. So here we are. Rachel Zegler, once the crown jewel of Gen Z stardom, is now a cautionary tale. Not for what she did, but for what she didn't do. She didn't apologize, she didn't course correct, she didn't speak. And now she's fading. Not because Hollywood removed her, but because they stopped believing in her. But here's the part everyone's waiting for. The comeback. Because Hollywood loves a comeback. The question is, will Rachel take the shot? Will she own the chaos? Will she walk into the fire and rebuild, or stay silent while the credits roll on a career that had barely started? If she does come back, it won't be with another fairy tale. It'll be a war story. One that could either revive her legacy or bury it for good. So what do you think? Is Rachel Zegler being unfairly punished for speaking her truth? Or is this what happens when a rising star lets the spotlight burn too hot? Let us know in the comments. Hit that like button if you made it this far. Subscribe for more deep dives like this one. And buckle up, because what's coming next in Hollywood might just shock you.